My, what a time to be a race fan. Controversy everywhere. Cost cap cheaters to escape unpunished. For those fans who don't agree with the word cheaters in this context, let's have a look at the definition. According to www.dictionary.cambridge.org, the word cheater can be defined as a person who behaves in a dishonest way in order to win or get an advantage. And then they give two examples. The Inland Revenue has many ways to catch cheaters, and athletes who break the rules to win are cheaters. Would you say the cost cap is a rule? Would you say that Red Bull and Aston Martin hasn't broken it to win, have they? They've broken it to be smack bang average mid-table. But Red Bull seems to have broken it to win. Officially, the overspend found out by the FIA has been branded as a minor overspend breach, which means it was less than 5% of last year's 145 million cap for Red Bull. In other words, less than 7.25 million. Ferrari says 7.25 million could be worth up to half a second a lap. So then, Red Bull and Aston Martin broke the cost cap rule, and anyone else who did it is also included, and thus they have cheated to gain an advantage. But now what? What does the FIA do to salvage their already tattered reputation and attempt to enforce their own rules? According to a magnificently interesting article on motorsport.com, the teams who are being accused of cheating or of bending the rules or of a minor overspend breach or whatever spin you want to put on it have an option of accepting an accepted breach agreement. This basically means they acknowledge they broke the rules, say sorry, and then they get a slap on the wrist from the FIA. If they don't want to do this, in other words admit that they broke the rules, a hearing from a relevant panel can be set up with judges elected by the FIA. Any verdict this panel makes can be appealed by the teams. What's going to happen? Well, a financial penalty seems the most likely. Ironic, don't you think? Have a team pay money for spending too much money. The FIA does have the authority, of course, to rescind Red Bull and Verstappen's driver title from 2021, the year in question, and add it to Mr. Lewis Hamilton, because he doesn't have enough of those already. I don't believe they'll do that though, because the fallout would be huge and would likely see Red Bull withdraw from the sport. And, of course, nobody wants that to happen. So the most likely action will be a stern warning and a fine. So in other words, a slap on the wrist. Because Red Bull and Aston Martin are stinkingly rich, and thus the FIA would set a very dangerous precedent for teams who are stinkingly rich to break the cost cap rule and pay more money, which they have in abundance, which was exactly what the cost cap was supposed to prevent, teams flashing the cash so that they have a huge advantage, and make the sport look like a bit of a joke. What can the FIA do? I don't know. Make rules that they can actually enforce, start off with. Ferrari make Leclerc a worse driver, according to Jacques Villeneuve. Not everyone's cup of tea, Mr. Jacques Villeneuve. He seems to revel in the stereotype of weird French-Canadian guy, but he does know something about driving, having beaten the Schumachers and the likes to the 1997 world title while driving for Williams. Villeneuve seems to think Ferrari are making Leclerc perform worse due to their blunders rubbing off on him. Villeneuve said except for the first 3 races, Red Bull have been almost perfect. Ferrari collapsed after that. The team went wrong far too often, which also increased the pressure on Charles. He also started making mistakes, and the question will always remain, would that have happened without the team's blunders? His mistake when leading at Paul Ricard was ultimately crucial to the championship, and in Japan it happened again in the final corner. That according to Mr. Jacques Villeneuve. Some headlines. Rule confusion. With the rain-affected rule confusion last weekend, the FIA need to clarify the half-point, half-distance rain race thingy rule that I have no idea how it works. Verstappen even seemed confused and didn't seem to realize that he had just won the title because everybody thought they were getting half points, and I don't know what's happening. And BBC F1 commentator Jack Nicholls seems to agree because he went on to call the rule, "What a bizarre. It's stupid. Stupid rule, there's no doubt about it." Brundle says blame for the cost cap should go to team bosses. And he has a solution. Have team bosses sign legal documents holding them to a code of conduct. Don't know if they have something similar to this, but Toto Wolff is rumored to have something with Mercedes like that. Brundle said, I think also it's a good thing that the corporate governance of somebody like Mercedes-Benz, for example, is such that they can't just be seen to be breaching something like this. I think that needs to be the same for all the teams, and I tend to agree with Mr. Brundle. Some awesome memes. You will laugh, you may cry, but mostly you will enjoy. Hit that sub button, laugh a little, and now the thought for this week is Isaiah 1. In Isaiah 1, God calls you back. He says even though things between you and Him are many, they will be wiped out if you're willing to listen to Him. If you don't, well, that's up to you. The choice is in your hand. God bless. Thanks for watching, and please come again next week. New videos, new stuff, always new stuff, cool stuff, nice stuff. God bless and goodbye.